This is Drink Talk, where we try to solve the world's problems one drink at a time. Each week in this podcast, the topics of today and tomorrow are discussed while we sample some of the finest libations known to man. Join
Hit it right on the marker.
Yeah, we're pretty darn close.
And we're here at the 5168 Taproom.
Yeah, and we are joined by Charlie Yin from 5168 and many other things. And Sean from Into the Pint Glass is joining us as well. So thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, let's just jump right into it. Charlie Yin, his family has been in the restaurant business for 40 years, approximately.
I mean,
wow.
In Nebraska, 40 years. If you stretch it back, probably about 100.
Bravo.
Yeah,
I mean,
unofficially,
every family's been in business that long, right?
That's crazy.
Doing something.
Yeah. So you would know them as Hero 88 across Nebraska. Is there other restaurants? You had the Ugly Duck, which was where we're currently at. Was the space for Ugly Duck?
Sure. We also have local beer patio and kitchen, and that is our craft beer concept. We focus strictly on supporting local breweries.
Nice.
Within Omaha, within Greater Nebraska, some from Iowa as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're fans of the local-ish area. For beers.
Yeah. When you think of, you're over in Council Bluffs. Is that part of Iowa, or are you further into Iowa?
Like breweries like Millstream,
Oh,
Peachtree.
yeah.
Sure, and we
nice.
do bring some Toppling Leviathan as well. I mean, because it's, they're in the neighborhood, and Keg Creek, and plus they're great beers.
Yeah, we're good big fans of Toppling Goliath.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pseudo Sue. Yeah. So the 5168 Brewery, you started in Lincoln, Nebraska with that one, correct? And that was last year?
No, we started brewing January 17th. That's when we got our CO and our brewing license.
Okay.
So literally probably 3 months ago.
Wow, I thought it was a little older than that. And then you just immediately jumped into doing the tap room just a couple months later here in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, it was the opportunity presented itself. I mean, this space that we're currently in, it's very intimate. You know, we seat around 70, has a small kitchen. So when we looked at different concepts to put in this space, you know, after we closed the Ugly Duck, this was sort of a layup.
Was that a business move to close Ugly Duckling to where
it was?
Okay, now was that specifically to bring 5168, or was it Ugly Duck was not doing as well as you'd hoped?
The concept really wasn't taking like we hoped it would,
because that was a ramen place, right?
Yeah, and we'd run Omaha Ramen Fest the year before. I think the city is ready for that type of food, but maybe not in this pocket of the city.
Right. Okay, I got you. Because I know they do have another ramen place out there at Westroads. At their, that little, I don't know how well that does. Like,
I'm not sure either. I know Ika in Benson. That's my buddy Jose's restaurant. Kills it. They're doing great. They make great product.
I think the perception of ramen in most people's minds is like college days. I paid 10 cents for this package. Why am I paying $10 for a bowl of ramen when I could make it for 10 cents, you know?
Sure.
But it's not the same. It's homemade ramen. It's a lot different.
And I mean, you can drive to McDonald's and get a burger. You can go to many other places.
Make it yourself.
Yeah, make it yourself.
Yeah, all those different things.
I just want to let the fellow audience out there know we do have a little bit of a lag time going on. I'm kind of getting connection on and off. We do have a lot of people here in the restaurant. But it does still seem like we're going live, so I'm just going to keep it going. We've got a backup of this that we can put up on iTunes or Google Play Music, so we do have the actual recorded version of this. So if we do see some lag, no big deal.
Great.
With that said, we should be on to our first beer.
Yeah, why don't we start that, and then we'll get into more of the topics here. So why don't you explain? Go ahead, Charlie.
We're going to go through a flight today. The first beer number one is our 88 lager. It is an Asian-style lager. So
what does that mean for you? Because for me, like when I read Asian-style lager, I went, well, I know Asian-style cuisine, and I know lagers, so how do you meld those?
I mean, so a lot of the breweries that you see in Asia all come from different occupation in those countries, right? So when there were German soldiers in that country, or when there were other soldiers, the first thought is like, well, how do we get beer? So, how do we get our troops beer so they don't revolt?
Oh, yeah. I'm prior military, so I can totally vouch for that.
I mean, the Air Force puts up golf courses, and other places they put up breweries. So they would put breweries up during their occupations in these areas, and a lot of times when they would leave, that they'd be left with this brewery, or the local people would really enjoy the beer, so they would brew. So a lot of the beers that were in these countries are just German style beers.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
so even though it's Asian flair, it's still a German lager.
What does change is what resources were available to them in those countries. So this has rice as one of the grains.
Which I know that there are breweries out there that use that, but they use it more for a clarity, where they are you using it more as a filter or to clear up the beer?
They'll use it as an adjunct. It's mostly for flavor. It doesn't really clear the beer, does not clear up the beer, but it'll make it have a cleaner taste.
Okay, so and I think Anheuser-Busch is one of those that uses rice to do that.
They do.
Okay.
So
that's very, very cool way to clean it up and impart some flavor, like you said, an adjunct.
Yeah, and I mean, so lager, every beer in the world, regardless of whether it's a stout, an IPA, a Berliner Weiss, whatever, there's only two types of beer. The two major categories are either lager or ale.
Oh, okay. Yes,
right?
Yeah. And that depends on the type of yeast that you're using.
Type of yeast,
yep.
Sure. And the lagers take a longer time to make because the yeast has to work its way from the bottom up and fight gravity, so it takes longer to do that.
And they tend to be sweeter ales.
Yeah, and ales are top down, so they fall down with gravity.
And lagers tend to be a little clearer.
Yeah, well, if you do it right, they do.
Yeah, that's true.
If you don't, then not so much.
Home brewers around know exactly what we're talking about. Well, with that,
I'm going to take a drink because I'm getting thirsty over here. And by the way, the feed's running great. I'm listening to the audio, and it just works out fine. Yeah. We just got a little glitch in the matrix. It's no big deal.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good... Oh, yeah. So there's like the flavor is towards the back. Like right up front, it's lager. But in the back, you get more of the flavor profile.
Yeah.
What I like is your little cups.
Thank you.
These little lips on the cups, just they hit you just right. It's kind of like a beer can cup.
It's a little mini beer can.
Yeah, mini beer can cup.
So we have an affiliation with Hero 88, as you mentioned. That's also our family's restaurant. So when we first sought out to open the brewery, one of the first beers that popped in our head is, how do we make a nice, clean Asian lager for a couple of reasons. The first being, we wanted that to be the flagship beer that we would serve at Hero. And the second reason is, I think a lot of folks, when they first get into craft beer, they'll try something like a double IPA or a stout or an imperial stout. And unfortunately, a lot of times that turns your first-time craft beer drinker off because they're used to drinking things like Michelob, Coors, Bud Light.
Things with no flavor.
Things with no flavor, right? And, making a beer with no flavor is actually one of the most challenging types of beer to make. It's not easy.
Right.
It's just what
because you're watering it down and you're making it clean and crisp and removing everything out of there.
So we wanted to make a beer that was very approachable to get people into what we were doing, to show them that the 5168 Taproom and 5168 Brewery is making a beer that they enjoy, and that opens you up to like, well, maybe I want to try the next beer, maybe I want to try another beer that they make.
I'll tell you, this is smooth. This is an easy drinker for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're used to like a Bud Light, Coors Light, I mean, I'm not going to compare it to that, but it's a lighter flavor.
It's a warm weather beer.
Exactly.
Warm weather.
There you go.
Yeah, it's something you could drink while you're sitting on the porch, mowing the
lawn.
lawn.
Yeah, that's what I call them lawnmower beers.
Lawnmower beers.
Porch pounders, patio pounders.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a beer that I'm really proud of. Our brewer is amazing. His name's Brian Britt.
I was just going to ask.
And he was unavailable today. He had a conflicting schedule. So why don't we talk a little bit about him?
He's got to brew beer.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do.
Well, he's been doing that like a machine recently for the last 3 months. So this weekend...
And everything's out of Lincoln is where the brewer is.
That's correct. He's taking the weekend with his family, which is great. I'm glad he's catching some time with the fam and the kids. He's previously a home brewer. He's been brewing for 10 years.
Is he here local? Is he from Nebraska?
He's from O'Neill, Nebraska.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
He's a corn-fed boy.
He's a corn-fed boy. The funny story, how we met Brian is we were at Kincaidor doing the video series.
Oh, sure, out of Kearney?
Yeah. No, out of Broken Bow.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yes, Broken Bow, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing our video series that you guys had mentioned, so if you want to take a look at that, it's on our webpage at localbeer.co. And we were talking to Dan and Nate and Cody. There's one more gentleman that owns it as well, but 3 of the owners. And we told them, like, hey, eventually we're going to open our own brewery. If you know of anyone who you'd recommend as a brewer, please send them our way.
Which is, to me, like, it's such a small community. Like, they don't care that it's competition. They're like, they just want to help everybody out because they're all, it's a community, really.
I mean, right now it's David versus Goliath.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like how you put that.
Yeah,
well, craft beer is 12.7% now of the total market share.
And that's total craft beer. So when you look at local craft beer, I think it's 4, maybe
is
3 to
really?
4%.
Wow.
So 4% competing with the other 96% of distribution in the state. We just want to help each other get better at this point.
Yeah, I think they're hoping to be 20% by 2020 is what they said.
Yeah,
sure.
That's what I heard. Is like 20 by 2020 is like the kind of
that's the number to hit
statement.
Which
cheer.
Yeah, I mean we got 2 years. Well, less than 2 years to do it.
So, and Brian had his wife brought him out to Central Nebraska for his 40th birthday party. So they took a tour of First Street. They went to Kincaider, Ord, Scratch Towns out there. They
Ord, Northern Nebraska. That's
another
great.
brewery. And they've known each other for a while because Nate, one of the owners, ran a craft beer supply store, I guess. And he expressed to Nate that he thought he was ready to maybe take that next step. So Nate referred him to us, which is awesome. Like the fact that
keeping it local, keeping it Nebraska. I like it.
Was it an instant, like when you approached him about being the brewer for you? Was it like instant, like yes,
that was yummy?
And also, second part of that would be, did he bring his flair to it, or was he trying to bring your flair to the beer?
I think, that was one of the best things about it. Like, we didn't have two different directions. We both saw really close to what the other person wanted to execute for beer. We wanted clean beer. We wanted it to be made well, no shortcuts. We don't really have a niche yet when it comes to... We're not the IPA shop. We're not
like Stone Brewing Company. That's IPAs.
We're not the sour shop, right? We're not doing this or that. But every beer we're making, we're trying to do as true to original beer making as possible, not put a lot of adjuncts in. But to answer your other question, when we met and started talking about it, I think we both sort of had this whole "it's too good to be true" thing, but we didn't want to just ask the other person yet. Like, he was like, "So you need a brewer, and you're willing to let me work part time?"
I need a guy. I need a guy that needs to do that stuff.
Yeah. So initially, it was a part-time position.
It still is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's working full time as a physician's assistant.
Oh, okay.
So he's working a lot of hours. So when we met, I'm like, "This is what I need," and he's like, "Well, I kind of want to brew," and we're just like, "Well, if I offer him, is he
got wife and kids and all that stuff?" Oh, man. How does he have the time?
This weekend was well needed.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you took the weekend. Sundays are a good day for that.
So we finally I just laid it out there. I'm like, listen, I love your beer. I've had 5 or 6 of them. I just need a brewer. Do you want to do it? And he's like, you mean you're going to offer me the position? I'm like, yeah.
Of course.
Now, you said he was a home brewer, but had he had any large-scale production level experience?
Yeah, he'd gone to other facilities and like co-brewed with other people.
Okay.
So he got the gist.
He got the gist of what was ahead of him. Even prior to that, he'd brewed with Tim Thomason out of Boiler Brewing in Lincoln. They were both homebrewers at the same time, and it was sort of back and forth. Like Tim would take first place in one homebrew competition, Brian would take first in the other. It's like they both were on the same trajectory, and Tim's doing amazing things at Boiler Brewing right now. If you've had his beers, series, which is that hazy, really dank, fruit-forward IPAs.
Well, everybody online, if you're on like Nebraska Brew Crew or something to that nature on Facebook, exactly. You
Dumpster Trash Fire. Yeah.
Exactly. You know what that's all about. Everybody's always posting with their cans. Frankly, I haven't had any, so
Seriously?
Maybe after this we'll go down that way. We'll see.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it.
Not that I want to leave here anytime soon.
He does beers that are very true to certain styles, and he does other stuff that are just like straight dessert beers, and they're two different directions you can take with it, but they're all good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I want to talk a little bit about your name,
sure.
the 5168.
Yeah, because to me, when I heard of 5168, I was like, oh, is that the address? You just go to 5168 blah blah street, and he's like, no, that's not what it's all about.
It was close in Lincoln. It was pretty. Your address was actually pretty darn close to that.
The zip code is close.
Yeah. So the 5168. Let's talk about what that comes from and what that means and all that.
Yeah, numerology is very important in Chinese culture. If you look at superstition, and they skip the 4th floor, they skip the 14th floor. It's because the number 4 is very close to the same sound as the number for death. In Chinese.
Yeah, and same in the States. 13.
Yeah. So numbers sounding like words are a big deal there. So 5 sounds like the word for my or me. 1 is 1. 6 sounds like the word for road or path, and 8 is good fortune. So the same reason we named it Hero 88. Double 8s are double fortune. So it sounds like 5168 is my one path to good fortune.
Oh, nice.
That's really, really cool.
That is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just something that when you're trying to name a brewery, it's very tough. For one, of course we love the name, but we tried 5 or 6 other names, and they're all taken. Every name for a brewery is taken these days.
Just use numbers; they won't know.
Yeah, they won't know.
Did you initially start with numerology, or did you have other names for the brewery before you started that?
You know, I was thinking beardless brewing. I didn't have a beard at the time, and Brian can't grow facial hair, so
yeah,
it's something we give him crap about.
That's funny. That's funny because there's a lot of when you think of a brewer, you think bald head, beard.
Overalls, maybe. Who knows? Like Carhartt jackets.
Big flannel shirts.
Carhartt jackets.
No, same thing. Very popular in the brewing world.
That's actually really funny.
Well, what kind of so the styles that you have right now? So I knew initially the IPA and the double IPA because actually the first beer that I had from you was the Kangaroo Dropkick, which unfortunately you're out of today.
Yeah.
Which
that's my favorite.
coming back.
That's my favorite.
It's a double IPA.
So good.
So I had that one. You had the IPA. You had the Asian Lager, which we just had here, and the Hawaiian Porter, which I actually had earlier on. But what are some of the other styles that you have?
We're going to be tasting a rye today.
Okay, I guess, are we about ready for the next one?
Yeah, we can try the rye.
Hey, guys, I do have a question about the 88 lager, though. So with using the rice, Charlie, I mean, what effect does that have on the beer? I mean, is it like it's not? I've heard that it's not gluten free, but it's.
Oh, so that's actually not a byproduct of the rice.
Okay.
The rice certainly doesn't add gluten, but we use an enzyme to clear the beer up, so to drop a lot of the particulate out of the beer. One of the nice side effects is it makes it pretty close to 0 parts per million gluten.
Oh, so about as gluten-free as you can get.
Yeah, we produce in a facility that has gluten, so we can't call it gluten-free.
So you hear that out there, though, people that are trying to be gluten-free and stuff? They've got something for you.
So you can do the low to no
tasty
gluten?
too.
Yeah, it's gluten-friendly. It's very gluten-friendly. So we've had it tested by the University of Nebraska in Lincoln 3 times. All times it's no detectable levels of gluten.
That's really good to know because I've actually had some gluten-free beer just to try it.
They're not so good usually.
No, not really. Not really. They're getting better because as time goes on.
I'll drink this if somebody left this in my fridge.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, those are usually made with sorghum, so that's the flavor you're getting, and that is a true gluten-free beer because there's no gluten around.
Right.
We start with gluten and then remove it with this enzyme, or like actually alter the molecule.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
So you've got a GMO beer. Is what we're talking about here.
No. Kind of, yes.
I'm kidding.
5168 does not promote GMOs.
That's good. Perfect. That's good. Yeah. Well, all right. So what's the next one here? This next one's a rye, which I am a fan of rye
hazy.
beers.
Yeah. It's called Gone Rye. So
Gone
rye.
Rye.
I love it. I love it.
The reason we called it Gone Rye is Brian was brewing this beer and he got a little tied up with something else he was doing, and he forgot to put rice hulls in the beer itself. So rice hulls are not the same thing as rice. We put rice in the lager. Rice hulls are just almost the fibrous portion of the grain.
Okay.
And he mixes that in sometimes when we know we're going to be making a sticky mash to help it drain, because you got to drain all that and pump it into your brew kettle. So you've got the rice hulls. So what's normally a 6-hour brew day quickly turned into a 10 or 11-hour brew day.
Yeah, I've heard that rye.
My bad.
Brewers do not like working with rye because rye is a very difficult grain to work with.
Rye, oatmeal, oats. I mean, anything that creates that like really, really sticky mash is not fun when it's cleaning or transferring.
Right.
Sure.
So we're sitting around. It's probably 11 o'clock, and I'm like, let's just call it Gone Rye.
Nice. That's awesome. Well,
cheers.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
We're
Cheers.
Clinky before we drinky.
Yeah.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Some people may have taken sips already.
Yeah,
my
bad. My bad.
I was excited.
Nothing wrong with that. I should have taken a sip of that.
This one's more flavor forward.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorites of it.
Yeah.
Of these guys.
It's a little spicy, and then that comes from the rye, but it also comes from the 2 hops we use. We use a Howard Tower Blanc and Huel Melon. Yep.
Nice.
So light fruit, little floral notes in there. I think it complements the rye, the spiciness of the rye really well.
It is pretty hop forward. That's the main flavor that I get right off. But then as time goes on, it settles down. You get the citrusy notes, and I like it.
I was recently at the zoo since my son goes to school there at the zoo.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, preschool at the zoo.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They have them in a cage.
we just throw them in there. It's no big deal.
Throws poop at people. Like,
But it's like the rainforest. It's got a very the
I get
smell.
You smell the rye and the hops.
Yeah, you can definitely smell like a rainforesty kind of.
In a good way, right?
In a good way, yeah.
After the rain smell.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love the rainforest at the zoo? I mean,
the other nice thing is, so this beer is currently being carried by 2 other local venues, so we want to just give them a shout
Yeah,
out.
it smells good.
It's such a good beer.
Like
Yeah.
earthy.
Old Chicago and
Yeah.
Eagle Run.
Yeah, oh yeah. So yeah.
Sorry, Old Chicago and Eagle Run has been carrying this for about a week.
That was going to be my
And,
next question. Where can we find all your beer?
Yeah, Brickway Brewery has been carrying this for about a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys so much for carrying those. Other than that, local beer patio kitchen and Hero will occasionally have this beer.
Yeah, because you guys are, local and 516. I think we touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
That local and 516 are all owned by you guys, so that's
Yep,
it's
local
kinda-
5168 and the Hero.
So the brewery is
88.
really local's brewery.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you carry it at Hero?
We do.
Okay.
We carry the 88 lager,
Okay.
and then we usually carry either the New Beginnings IPA or the Hawaiian Porter.
Okay. And I ask because I go to Hero a lot. I
Yeah.
enjoy. Yeah.
This
yeah.
is
So
really good
good.
for sake bombs.
Yeah.
The thing I like about Hero is, what do you want? Do you want like Asian flair, or do you want sushi? Because you do both very, very well, and I like that.
Thanks.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
appreciate it.
And you have got good sushi or good sake.
Yeah.
Sake
There's a-
bombs are awesome.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We ordered a bottle of. We had a party and we ordered a bottle of sake. Man, that was a good night. That was,
Yeah, sake. I mean, sake
And
is
then
a
I
cool
don't
beverage.
remember the rest of the day.
yeah, it was a good time. So we went through the beer offerings. Let's talk about here at the Taproom.
Yeah.
Taproom just opened late March, 27th.
27th. That's
okay,
correct.
March 27th.
Oh, so you literally just opened this location
Just like a few weeks ago.
ago.
Not even
That's
3 weeks,
correct.
2.5 weeks ago, really.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
But before that, it was
Ugly Duck.
It was closed for about 3 or 4 months, but before that it was Ugly Duck.
Now I remember Devin Dupree. He used to come in here and DJ and all that stuff in this same space.
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure out, like, I didn't know if you had more kitchen press back or what. This was kind of the same space it was in.
This was it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Oh, it's an intimate setting. I like it.
But I think
you
it's
could
open
put
enough.
like what 50 plus people in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think during the dance parties you probably had 70 to 75 people.
Nice.
well, let's get into some of that. Some of the things because you do a yoga class here
Yeah.
on Sunday mornings.
Sunday
Is
morning-
it just Sunday mornings?
Sunday mornings from 10:30 to 11:30.
It's balance yoga. Is that what it's called?
We call it Beers and Balance or
Beer and
Balance and Beers.
Okay.
A lot of breweries are doing yoga. I think what differentiates what we're doing is we're actually incorporating the beers into the poses.
Now, hang on a second.
Yeah.
You're confusing me here. You actually had yoga going on in here before
Right
we
before
came
we
in?
showed-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you came in.
So you guys move the tables out of the way and you guys just do yoga in the middle of the place?
Well, I mean, not me.
I mean, that's good chi. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had about 4 people show up today. It was snowing, but yeah, so it's called Beers and Balance. So you use the beer during your poses, and it's sort of like a handicap. If you're really good at yoga,
Is it
this
an
throws
open?
you off a little bit.
Is it a glass or is it a bottle?
It is
or
a
it-
plastic cup.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. If you're expert level,
Yeah,
then you can
because you don't want to fall on that.
Yeah,
and
you
break
don't
it.
want concrete and shards of glass and bare feet.
Right. Yeah. ouch.
So
Yeah.
on Sundays we're going to do yoga from 10:30 to 11:30. I believe next week we're introducing pub quiz, so trivia.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
Are you gonna have like the machines, or are you gonna have
No,
where you go on your
it's
smartphone?
written.
Or okay,
Yeah.
written down. Okay,
We run our pub quiz through America Pub Quiz.
Gotcha.
So it's all written down.
well, local is that the same one that local has?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Same
Gotcha.
company.
Okay.
And eventually, we'd like to host a bingo night some night during the week, just for fun. But
Beer bingo.
So,
beer bingo. Yeah.
You know, there's a place that I work downtown that many people probably already know that I work at, but it's very close to your local. And I was going down there for an event. I got free tickets and all that stuff, and we just happened to come in on a pub quiz night. And it was funny. I was walking to the restroom, and there's this table just trying to figure it out. And I'm all like, the answer is blah, blah, blah. And they're like, thank you. And then I'm coming out of the bathroom. I'm like, the answer is blah, blah. I'm like, man, I'm really good at this pub quiz right now. I should
Yeah.
be joining on right now.
Yeah, you should check
would
it out.
destroy it.
They give away gift cards. So first place gets a $40 gift card. Second place gets a $20 gift card.
Like a Visa gift card or to like?
No, too local.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I just want to clarify here.
All right. And then we, I think third. Do we still give away crowlers?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think third place gets a crowler.
You tell me.
So here at the Taproom, not only do you serve the beers that you offer, but you also have food. And
Yeah.
the full menu and all that. And that was, I told you before the program that was one of my wife's questions: is this kid friendly?
Yeah, I mean,
There's some booster chairs I put my soundboard on a little while ago. So yeah, there's some booster chairs here.
2 ways to answer the question. When it comes to kid friendly, like if a 5-year-old just wandered in on his own,
Yeah, I mean,
probably not.
We will try and find his
Call it
parents.
We'll call his parents. But no, totally, it's a family friendly restaurant.
Good.
I mean, we have
But you
high
don't
chairs.
you don't have a kids menu. but
No. But we do
Kid-friendly
have a
food.
lot of items on the menu that kids would eat without a problem. Like my daughter can finish one of the single burgers on her own.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a small quarter-ounce burger. We serve it with tots, which are good for both adults and
yeah.
children.
Oh, for sure.
Love me some tots.
Well, and I was
I do
reading
too.
through the menu, and the peanut butter bacon burger sounded
Yeah.
really, really interesting.
And
Yeah.
what do we have here in front of us? I know my squirrel's kind of getting after it for a while, but
Pork rinds.
Yeah, the
pork rinds.
Chicharrones.
Yeah.
I heard him crackling earlier.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just basically fried pork skins. They're kind of like just little pork potato chips, and they're delicious.
Yeah, and I had them like
Yeah,
right.
Sean's
right
over
up
there
front.
mowing down
Yeah.
on one. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, they were delicious. They were,
Added sound effects are great.
And try it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
now something that actually our mother texted to us before we came down here. They said,
Thanks,
"Hey,
Mom, for doing research
Yeah.
for us.
Local is on tag."
Yeah.
and since local is part of this, are you guys going to be on tag?
We are.
which is Together a Greater Good, and it's an
Yeah.
app that
It's a
you can
great
get on any-
program.
Yeah.
Yep. Tag's amazing. I mean, basically, it allows the consumer to decide, hey, which charity would I like part of my proceeds to go to during this meal? I don't know exactly how many charities they have, but they do close to everything.
Yeah, and you can pick and choose. And
Yeah.
how
So if you love supporting like Charity X, you can come in and dine, and X%, which is determined by the restaurant,
it's pre-tax,
Yeah.
or pre-tip, I should say.
Pre-tip.
Pre-tip.
X% of that will go to your charity. You don't put any money forward. The restaurant's doing all of it, and we usually match during certain times. We'll match donations with whatever is donated from a customer.
Cool. Then that's coming. Do we have a time frame, or is it just
No,
soon?
we've done that in the past, and I think we occasionally will say, hey, we'll match this time or that time.
Gotcha.
Tag. You mean?
Yeah, tag.
I
Sorry.
would say maybe a week or two.
Okay.
Yeah, during the restaurant opening, we're focusing on sort of like just getting the wheels greased up and make sure everything's
Right,
running
working
smoothly.
out the kinks and
Yeah.
all that.
Well, yeah, you gotta understand your customer base, how they're flowing in, and all
Sure.
that stuff.
But yeah,
I get
great
it.
program. We love Tag.
Absolutely.
Didn't you guys just do one at the local Millard? Didn't you do one for Big Brothers Big Sisters? Or
Yeah, we just did a
Last
fundraiser
week,
for Big
yeah.
Brothers Big Sisters. Yep.
was that part of TAG, or was that
Nope,
just on its own?
That was just
Okay.
on its own. Yeah, that was on its own.
Yeah.
Sorry, with the music, I was just told him to kick up the volume a little bit. Just
Oh,
because-
sure.
Yeah.
You can just tell me on the mic, Brad. You don't have to whisper.
Yeah.
Be like,
Gotcha.
hey, I just want to hear you some more.
Are there any questions? Oh yeah, Grant's on there. He's saying,
Good old Grant.
yeah, with the tag program, he
Love
loves
Grant.
tag. Yeah. Well, since we're talking about
Oh,
programs,
and Kevin, he's over here drinking lager.
right behind
Where,
us.
where's,
behind
where's
us.
Kevin?
Yeah, he's right
Kevin,
here.
where's your
Raise your hand, Kevin.
88 lager, refreshing. Thank you. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for showing up and being part of the show. But awesome. With that said,
Yeah, are we moving on?
I mean,
okay.
Let's do the next one.
we're big drinkers here, and we're halfway through the show. So
This is our New Beginnings IPA.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of IPAs, and
So
new
this is-
beginnings are always good.
Is this
the
your
first
original?
beer. This is the first beer we made with
okay.
Brian.
All right, very nice, very nice. Well,
Yeah, cheers.
Yes, clinky before you drinky.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers, cheers.
Oh, I love the aroma on that.
It's very smooth.
hoppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
it's
get
got
the
a
bite
good
of the
hop
hops
to it.
right up front.
We use Falconer's Flight and Meridian hops in this beer.
I haven't heard of Falconers, but I have heard of Meridian.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Falconer's, Meridian are the two hops we use in this. This is
Do you know where Falconers is out of?
Are there
Not
any
to
local
put you on the spot or anything.
Are there any local hops that you do use?
We're in talks with Midwest hop producers to start using more. Right now, we have not. Again, it was more just getting ramped up and getting
Yeah.
ready to produce. But
Nebraska's pretty new to the hop
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
Really.
So the history behind this beer. Originally, this beer was a collaboration between Tim from Boiler and Brian, our brewer. It was called Overdone IPA.
Oh wow.
So to get a little technical, like in a standard IPA, people will use anywhere between 3 to maybe 5.5 pounds of hop per barrel. This one has 7.
Oh wow. Wow.
So they were dumping hops into weird places, like they'd boil water, put hops in it, and then like run it through
Dry
the,
hopping it afterwards and
run it
all
through the
that.
heat exchanger, dry hop it, wet hop
So
it,
this
wet
would
hop
be
it
a
twice.
multiple way of
Man.
doing hops in this
Yeah,
one.
yeah. They crammed hops into every.
I was just gonna say
inch.
it's definitely got a hop smell to it.
Yeah.
Now I did notice it was a 7.1% ABV. Do you know the IBU count? On
Yeah,
it?
I think we're at around 65 on this.
Okay, so yeah, the little on the higher range, but not too
Yeah.
bad.
They called it Overdone. The reason we called it New Beginnings is it was Brian's first beer, so it was sort of significant of his entry into professional brewing. But yeah, so
tasty.
Nice.
it's tasty. I mean, I get light amount of. I mean, it's you definitely taste hop, but you get some citrus. You do definitely get some like dark stewed fruit in there.
I don't know that I would say if you wanted to get into IPAs, I don't know that this should be your first one in.
No, I
because
wouldn't do that.
It's pretty flavorful. It packs a punch. It's very hop forward. It is smooth tasting, but I've got the IPA palate, so I'm used to that.
I'd tell people to start with a pale ale.
Yeah, right.
You know, a little bit lighter than a full-on IPA.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, I'm an IPA fan, so like that's like that. When I go into a store or into a place that would sell me crowlers or something like that, that's what I'm looking for is an IPA. So
I'm right with you there.
Kudos.
Yeah,
this is nice. This is smooth. This is easy. What was the alcohol on this?
I think it's 7.
I was just going to
7.1.
I was going to say 7.
Yep.
That's what it tastes like.
Yep.
It does have a little bit of alcohol-y. Yep.
And it's a West Coast, so it's not that juicy IPA that a lot of folks are doing right now.
It
It's
hits
more
me on
hop
the
forward.
It hits me on the side of the tongue.
Yeah.
Not on the front, not on the back, but like on the side of the tongue.
Yeah.
I'm getting my
I agree. I just tried.
I'm getting my taste buds on the sides of my tongue.
Very much so. Yeah.
Well, Sean, since we were talking about programs and all that, and TAG, why don't we talk a little bit about the Into the Pint Glass membership program? Because officially, as of today, why don't you talk about it?
Yeah, no, thanks again for having me on, guys. You know, I've been on multiple times in the past. You know, the membership program.
Just getting the word out there for you, bro.
Growing. It's been doing well. We're up to 9 breweries as of right now in Omaha, and going to be hopefully reaching to Lincoln pretty soon here. As of today, 5168 will be working with us and trying to help keep on pushing that Nebraska craft beer to everyone who's in the area. So yeah, no, we're very happy to have them be a part of it, and you know, we have a nice little line of breweries here between 5168, Farnham House, and Striptown. We kind of have a beer trail that we're in the process of trying to amp up and really strengthen to kind of incorporate and encourage.
Farnham's getting crazy.
Oh, Farnham House is great.
Well, I mean, just
Farnham Street.
Farnham Street,
yeah.
Well, and Beertopia. Don't forget about those guys.
Beertopia,
Well, yes, yeah, but
I buy my beer from them a lot. So
they're not really a bar, but you can get really good.
Well,
beers
right
there.
next door they have the tap room,
And they have the way in,
the
right?
door
Well,
now.
they finally put a door in. I'm like, why didn't you guys put this in, years ago? And it's just like, well, I burped right in the middle of that. You know, guys like that. But it was like, you guys run out of beer, you just go over to your other place and you go, I need 2 more 6-packs of this because we got a group of people drinking on it, and that's what it is. Now they have a door and you can just walk right through.
Have you guys been over there recently? I'm not sure. Like, is it kind of like a casual pint where can you buy? I haven't been there since.
You can buy your stuff and go over.
Can you open it up in there, or like can
I
you
would
buy
assume,
it there? Okay.
Since it's the same liquor license.
That'd be something to ask Bill. And,
That'd be if they're
their crew,
if they're online right now.
That's
somebody answer
another
that question?
episode.
Let's not talk about them. Let's talk about 5168
for sure.
So let's talk about what got you into craft, because your family has a rich history in restauranting. So what got you into craft brewing?
I think, well, obviously, craft beer got us into craft brewing.
So were you a craft beer fan?
Prior to opening local, I always tell people I was as big of a fan of beer as the next guy, but probably not more. What interested us is we were presented with this really nice location for a bar. And we started...
Hey, I've got some guy on the line right now that wants the exact location and address of this place.
We're at 3201 Farnham Street, Suite 6107, right next to Long Dog, Fat Cat, and the Verizon store.
Yeah, we're 3 doors down from the movie theater.
Yep. Right across from Cold Stone Creamery. So, we're right here. Right
3 doors
right
down.
in Mid-town Crossing.
Great band.
Yep.
Those who are in Omaha.
So, I mean, craft beer got us into craft brewing, obviously, but... we were trying to figure out what to put in this space, and we were trying to figure out, okay, so we're surrounded by hotels, we're surrounded by a lot of residences. How are we going to differentiate ourselves? And the first thought was, well, I mean, let's think about craft beer and like what it has to offer. And we were sort of kicking the tires on how to approach craft beer in a different way, because you have amazing places right now, like Krug Park.
Oh yeah,
is legit.
But like if you go there on a Friday or Saturday night, good luck finding a spot. I mean, you're standing room elbows to what.
And there's a ton of other places that are doing amazing selections of like 40, 50, 60 amazing beers from across the country. So we started tasting through some local beers, and I'm like, hey, this is good. I mean, this isn't just good, but it's just as good as a lot of other stuff. And I think between myself and a few other people, we're like, hey, if we just make this all Nebraska craft beer, can we fill 60 taps? And I think the consensus was no.
That's way too much.
You're pretty darn close, though.
This was 3 years ago.
You're close.
But then we started visiting these breweries, and we were talking to like Tom Wilmoth from Zipline was one of the first guys we talked
Nice.
to.
They got
Out
a
of
good
Lincoln,
thing.
yeah.
They got a good thing going there.
Sam Spilker from RIP Spilker Ales out of Cortland.
Ales, yep.
Hapalooya, Sonar. We went out and saw his brewery, and we were talking to him, and as we drank more, we're like, heck, we could definitely fill 60 taps with these guys' beers. Like, between them and all the other breweries that were just coming out, Scratchtown. We were begging them, like, please send us, like, everything you have. We're trying to fill all these taps.
Anything they make is great.
So,
Which, that's something to be said, is tap space for local breweries.
Yeah,
is huge.
but you're limited here.
Here we're limited.
Yeah.
We only serve our own. But so back to how we got into craft beer, we realized that there was something there. Like when we went to all these breweries and we started tasting their beer and we said, hey, we might be able to fill 60, we realized that we were on the cusp of like a beer revolution in Nebraska.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
And that was 3
Think
years
local,
ago.
drink local.
Yeah, and I think we only had 10 local breweries. Now, I hate to use the word fighting. People are not fighting for tap space, but it's competitive.
At least here in Nebraska. I know other states they are.
It's a hard decision as to who we put on our taps, whereas before we were just trying to put anything we could get to fill the 60.
Sure.
And that's amazing.
You got a local home brewer. You got your your ATF license. Come on, just throw it on here.
Anything.
Yeah.
Well, and it's all about keeping the money here in Nebraska.
Yeah.
That's too much of our money. With Iowa being which. We don't want to talk about Council Tucky over there, but they've got good and positive things and bad things too. But
Toppling Goliath's a great brewery.
They're not in Des Moines; they're in Iowa.
Right.
But they got the casinos over there, just taking all of our money. So if we could keep some of that money here and give it away locally to beers, that'd be great.
And don't even think about Iowa. Like think about Anheuser-Busch. They're not even next door to us. At least Iowa's regional. Maybe we have the chance of some of them coming over here and spending money, but.
Yeah.
Like, it amazes me that on a game day, and this is an example I use often, on a game day, 100,000 people will show up to Memorial Stadium wearing the same color.
I know.
Right.
Just get that red.
Just to show their pride in the college team in the state.
We don't have any NFL teams here.
Yeah.
Or we don't have, that is our NFL team,
but
is
you
the
can't
Cornhuskers.
convince most of them to pick up a locally made beer.
It's tough.
It's hard.
It's real tough.
Well, I think it's the habit of buying beer. I think it's just the craft beer here in Nebraska is just breaking out.
It's the habit, and it's that thought, like, Nebraskans are very conservative, and that's one of the things I love about the state.
Change is hard
We're
here.
very humble,
Yeah.
and I think there's this perception that craft beer is fancy. And I don't think it is. I think if they realized, like, oh, you mean Fred, the son of the guy I went to high school with, is making this beer, if they realized that, they could personalize the product and see the people that are making it, it would be a layup. But I think in their mind, they're having a hard time differentiating Nebraska-produced craft beer with Sierra Nevada or Lagunitas. And it's like, oh, there's some guy in, like, Utah making this, and he's making, like, 5,000 barrels a year. When, in fact, it's probably one of your neighbors, or at least someone your neighbor knows.
Yeah. Right, yeah. What do you think of, and this is kind of a growing trend here in Nebraska, what do you think of Nebraska as a craft beer destination?
I think it's amazing because you look at, so to go to central Nebraska, for one, you have Ord, you have Broken Bow, you have Taylor, you have a ton of people between us and them where the beer is bringing tourist dollars to these smaller cities.
Mm-hmm.
So they're...
and that's interesting to think about because that's a very new thing.
Yeah.
Is beer tourism.
Mm-hmm. When we interviewed some of those guys out there, they're saying, I think when we were interviewing Cody from Kincaidor, previous to amazing guy.
I've got his stickers.
Previous to Kincaidor opening, you would say I'm from Broken Bow, and he would tell
Where?
me where's that. And now people will say, "Oh, that's where Kincaidor's from. That's where Dan the Wiser's from." So
put them on the map.
It puts them on the map.
I got a guy.
Well, and they have the don't they have the largest? Because they're wide open for brewing. It's not like a patio, like
Bootleg.
Oh, they have the largest.
Kincaidor has a very large beer garden. I think it's 5 acres.
Yeah.
I think Bootleg is.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know if it's registered, but I think Bootleg has 5,000 acres.
Oh,
Bootleg also has a don't they have a hotel as well? Like, not a
Three
hotel, but they
three
have
or four
cabins.
cabins, yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
you can set up tents, and they'll sell you, like, rent you space to have a tent if you want. Like, it's awesome. You can make a whole experience of it.
Yeah, I mean, I love everyone's beer, but strictly as a tourist destination, if you want to spend a night in central Nebraska and see amazing scenery, Bootleg is awesome.
Absolutely, a good place to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, these breweries are bringing people out to areas that prior to this have not been major tourist attractions.
I know, and that's such a cool thing to think about here in Nebraska. 'Cause, I mean, I think a lot of people on the coast think of us as flyover country. And
Yeah.
now we're,
Oh, yeah.
we're starting to do destination stuff here.
Yeah.
So all you got is corn out there? What's going on?
And
What's going on, buddy?
And good beer.
Good to see you.
the other cool thing about beer in general, and this is why I love craft beer, this is one of the things that really attracted me to craft beer. I apologize to any of the wineries in the state. We will never compete on a national level when it comes to our
California wine?
because
Oh,
it's too focused on terroir, on climate.
Well, the grapes that can survive our winters, which I was going to say that earlier. Here we are mid-April,
Yeah.
and we're still getting snow.
Yeah.
So to have a grape that survives that,
It's challenging.
it is. You can have one, but it's not going to. Is it going? What's the flavor
Yeah,
going to be?
it's super sweet. I mean, you need that sugar content to survive the cold weather. I mean, a lot of that Edelweiss that's being produced, dessert
Speaking
wines.
of good weather, I mean, come on, what's up with the snow out here?
Yeah,
I
seriously.
was
I'm
shoveling
tired
my
of it.
driveway, so I went out to. I planted 160 bulbs out in my front area.
Tulips.
Oh,
They're all-
everything.
They're
Just-
all dead now.
Well, no. I did one better. I went out there and I shoveled the sidewalks, and after I shoveled the sidewalks, I got my blower out and I blew them.
Nice.
You know, and I blew the
Smart.
snow all off of them, and I'm like, no, don't die. They're all coming up. They're all 6-8 inches. Some of them are about to bloom, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you are killing my flowers right now. This darn Nebraska weather.
Well, I mean, we want to see business in Nebraska and business in Omaha and all the cities surrounding us do well. So when we look at craft beer, like a good brewer can make just as good a beer here as they can in Denver or in California
Oh,
or in New
absolutely.
York.
For sure.
And that's the cool part about it. It's like
It's all about the mixology.
Yeah.
If you know how to blend those right sorts of ingredients. Something came across my feed just the other day, and there's a brewery, and I can't say where they're out of. They're putting fried chicken into their beer. And I'm like, I don't know about having floating chunks of fried chicken. Well, yeah, it's they filter it all out, and it's all that. But it's like, how unique can you get with your beers? Hey, Grant.
What's going on, Grant?
I didn't know you were just going to leave me an open mic.
Yeah, there you go.
I can't wait till that guy comes back and he's like, "Here, my beer's over here." I moved to the mic.
It's all right.
This is awesome. Here, we're good here. I can't wait till he comes up behind. Oh,
No, you guys would be surprised. We were talking about that whole tourism thing, though.
Hey.
But
I'm Grant.
I'm from Minnesota,
Charlie,
and
good to meet you.
in Minnesota they've been having for a number of months now. Been having craft beer advertisements in Minnesota to get people to come down to drink the Nebraska beer, the Omaha, the Lincoln, the one-offs, like the smaller cities out west. Like, they're really pushing Nebraska as a state is pushing to bring tourism to the state for around craft beer, which is awesome to see.
It
is
I
great.
mean, I started Into the Pint
It's a
Glass.
win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, I started Into the Pint Glass like almost a year ago and tried to figure it out, but like I had friends up in Minnesota who like, I don't know what you're talking about, whatever, and now they're like, oh, are you a part of this brewery? Are you working with these guys? And I'm like, well, why? Because they're starting to hear about these breweries now, in even Minnesota, 3
It's
states
all about
away.
getting the word out.
So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
can we get distilleries on there too? What are your thoughts
In
on that?
Nebraska?
You were talking
Well,
about
We'll
we
talk
gotta-
about that at a different
we
time.
got a wink,
Yeah, we're
and
going to
we're
work at that.
We're going to take a time out on that because I've got some connections in that world. So
We'll
anyway,
talk off.
I'm Grant Mooseman. You
Grant,
are.
Charlie Yin. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. This
Grant's
is
a
your
good guy.
place, right?
Yep.
This place rocks.
So there's the distilling industry in the state is a little underrepresented when you look at how advanced or how developed our beer culture is becoming. And you have Brickway, you got Cut Spike, you got Cooper's Chase, you have Soldier Valley. Those are the four that really stick out
Yeah.
in my mind. And then you have the 50, 60 breweries,
Breweries, yeah.
out in the area. So
You got any questions for
Well,
this man while you're on the mic? I mean, you only got a few moments here.
I know.
before
I am going to give
the
the
man's
mic.
got to get back
I am
on.
going to give the mic back to the guy that took it, but I guess I got a couple. So,
Sure.
so First one you might have hit at the beginning of the show, but let's hit it because the address doesn't match the brand.
Sure.
So that was a little, honest to God, a little challenging.
And I was saying the same thing.
So
I was just all like,
what's the 5618 so that I can tell that to people?
5168.
Sorry, there we go, 5168. So help me out with that so that I can then direct people the right way.
Yeah, 5168 is a nod to like Chinese numerology. So 8, like Hero 88 is just luck. So double the luck is 88. 5168. So the word for 5 sounds like the word for me. 1 is 1. 6 sounds like the word for path or road, and 8 is luck. So my one path to good fortune or good luck or fortune. Yeah.
We can sell that.
Yeah.
And I suppose my only other one until I get, well, he disappeared now, so maybe I get 2 minutes on it. But then I'm turning over the questions. Can I help you bring events here? Can I bring tag events here? Can I bring business for business events here? Can I bring Chamber of Commerce events
of course.
here? So
yeah,
these boys know me. I show up about every third-ish show.
He's a good promoter.
Thanks for being on last week, by the way.
Big time when it's, what did I bring back? I brought from
Colorado.
But what was the name of the brewery out there?
Britt has it in his fridge.
All right, so it's from Breckenridge.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the name, but hear me out. My wife was drinking beers out of my basement fridge, and I'm like, honey, do not touch the beers in the basement fridge. Luckily,
Broken compass.
she didn't drink any of those beers. I'm like, those need to be saved. Do not touch.
All right, so I'm hopping off. It was a pleasure to meet you. I'm going to go hang out with some other folks here. Brian and Britt, you're back.
Yeah, nice job. Thanks, Grant. Thanks for being on the show for a hot second.
All right, so
going on to our next one.
Yeah, we're gonna hit the next one. This is beer number 4. This is the Hawaiian Porter.
Ooh, this is dark.
This is the one that I had before the program.
Yeah, this is a special beer for.
I can see through it a little bit. It's
obviously a stout.
I mean, I've got to hold it up to the windows.
No, this one's the Porter.
Cheers, guys.
Or porter. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry, Porter.
The Porter. Should wear my English hat.
You can smell that coffee. You can smell that.
I'm glad it's warmed up a little bit because as it warms up, you start picking up a lot of the other flavors.
Well, the darker the beer, kind of the warmer the temperature-wise, you want to drink it.
Yeah.
Just because the flavor profile, and that's another thing about drinking.
Did you say this is a Hawaiian Porter?
Yes.
I'm like, I taste a fruit
coconut.
in there.
Coconut.
I'm like, there's some kind of fruit in there that I'm tasting.
Is coconut a fruit?
Yeah. It's a seed. It is a fruit.
I would assume.
I think it's where the seed is.
Yep.
Rose from a tree.
Do you guys use coconut? Because I taste a lot of coffee in there. I mean, being a porter, do you guys use Hawaiian coffee, or do you guys?
So we wanted to go local on this beer, so we use a coffee from Archetype Coffee Roasters on 40th and Farnham.
Oh, they do good stuff.
Another Farnham business.
Yep. This is a.
You guys have a club like Farnham Business Club?
No, we should. That's Farnham Business Club, FBC.
All right.
Yeah. Done.
Just
copyright trademarked at what time is it? 2:47.
Charlie, we'll talk about this.
So a natural coffee is a coffee. So coffee is a fruit. Right? You have the seed, and you have this fleshy material outside of the bean. Mm-hmm. A natural coffee refers to a coffee that's dried with a fruit on, so it's very sweet. So you'll pick up notes of like fruity pebble or dark cherry or raspberry. Mm-hmm. So we used a natural coffee. We used there we go. We used 100. We used 100 pounds of roasted coconut.
It's so good.
We used real vanilla beans, and then we used chocolate. So
you can taste the chocolate. Is at the very end. I taste the chocolate, but you get the coffee notes up front. You get the coconut up front.
Yeah.
For a porter, this is very smooth.
Yeah,
I like it, and like you said, warmed up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Has it not so cold? I'm not a fan of those. What are those? The ones you put in the freezer? The mugs you put in the freezer?
Oh, chilled mugs. Yeah.
You don't find those anymore.
Yeah, it's like you drink those when you're in college, right?
Yeah.
That's
frosted
how you drink beer.
mugs.
Yeah, because if you drink it that cold, you're not getting any flavor profiles at all.
It only works for the big guys.
I mentioned earlier that this is a really important beer for our brewer. The reason being is there's 2 reasons. One,
it's smooth.
It's smooth.
That's great.
He entered this beer into Empyrean's Beer Quest, so he won, and then he entered it again another year and he won. So this is the only beer to have ever won Empyrean's Beer Quest twice.
What is the Beer Quest?
It originally it was a competition for homebrewers where you could brew a beer, submit it, and they would go through some sort of judging, and then they'd have a final day where they'd ask you to come back again and have people taste it, and it was basically the best homebrew submitted, so non-professional brewers. So he won that twice. the laws have
and
changed.
This is kind of like a private event because they don't do home brewer
Not
festivals anymore.
Yeah,
At
but
least
this
in
is back
Nebraska
when they
did.
did.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Back when they did.
We missed those.
Yeah.
Those were awesome.
German American Society.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've
So
heard
awesome.
good things. Those before my time in the
So
state, but
amazing.
I've heard they
Yeah.
were awesome.
They were amazing.
So, as a lot of homebrewers, it started as a hobby, and he's like, "This is just something I do for fun." But this was his aha moment, right, where he realized, like, "Oh, people like what I do." You win that twice. So, this is what sort of, from what he explains to me, unless he's lying, this is sort of what made him
be
think
lying,
like,
Brian.
yeah, better not be lying. He tells me this beer is what really made him want to follow his dream and start brewing on a commercial level. I think it's delicious.
It's amazing. We do have a question from
Yeah.
the audience here. Do you know what kind of chocolate is in this? Is it a dark chocolate or is it a medium, like a milk chocolate?
We
or
use chocolate nibs.
chocolate for those, and I'm not.
They're just small, like little pellets. I think it's like a medium chocolate. Yeah.
Okay, like a milk chocolate.
There's no milk in it.
Well, so
Just
yeah.
chocolate.
But when it comes to the
Medium.
level,
Cocoa.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
It's more like a
The
cocoa.
cacao is
Yeah.
like
Cacao nibs,
like
yeah.
50 or 60%.
Sorry for killing your mic earlier, by the way.
That's all right.
Usually I'm number one at home, but you're today number one.
I'm just gonna be very honest. I'm not too familiar with the details of the chocolate.
Okay.
The
How about-
vanilla,
Jason,
coconut,
we will
I'm
get
good.
back to you on that question. We
Yeah.
will do some research. Maybe we'll reach out to Brian and see
Yeah,
if he
yeah.
knows.
Yeah,
what
we'd
that
be
is.
You
happy
can
to-
always dive
yeah.
back into this post and answer questions. You know.
Yep, we'd be happy to post on
And
your
it's
website.
funny,
or
Tom ended up posing that question. We'd like to, like within the next 24 hours after this post, we do like to answer some of those questions if we don't know the answer right now.
Yeah.
So we will reach out and find out what kind of chocolate that is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is it melted down Easter bunny chocolate?
No, it's-
Yeah,
You have to melt it from the ears first.
exactly.
we take all the ingredients and we suspend them from these mesh bags in the fermentation tank.
Yeah.
It's not a fun day.
Oh.
It's a lot of work
Lot
and
of-
lifting and hoisting and
I think that a lot of people, when they think of opening a brewery, they're like, man, that would be so... You just get to work with beer all day.
yeah.
I don't think you realize what goes on behind the scenes, the cleaning process and the amount of work that it takes,
And
the
that's
hours
what-
put into it.
That's what they say about brewing. Like, people think of it as being a great profession. Like, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but like 90% of it is just cleaning.
Cleaning,
Like,
yeah.
you have to make sure you have
Yeah.
a clean, sanitary environment. If not, your beer's gonna go bad.
With lifting and hoisting, I mean, I am the rigger, so
Great.
If you need
like,
any help,
I'm just saying we could put a motor on the ceiling and help with that lifting and hoisting.
I like it.
They always say brewing is 90% cleaning, 10% paperwork.
And somewhere along the line,
yeah.
beer gets made.
Somewhere this thing happens and magically there's beer.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that 90-10.
That's a very good one. I do want to talk a little bit about, because of your family history in restauranting, how hard was the transition between restaurant and brewery? Because, I mean, when it comes to cooking,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's an ingredient or a recipe that you have to follow without the T.
Yeah.
We talked about that earlier,
Yep.
spelling. But the recipes, you're following a recipe when you cook. Obviously, when you cook, there's your flair, so
Yeah.
that's a little different. So,
I will give a lot of props to Brian about this. He has made the transition so easy because we're working with a professional. I can't speak to other people's experiences. He's made life so easy because he shows up, he does a great job, he knows what he's doing. If I had to be involved in the beer, oh my god.
have you been there in the process when he's
No,
done that at all?
I help brew, but I'm like literally shoveling, I'm lifting, I'm moving stuff
Take this-
around.
He's the
Workhorse,
he's the
yeah.
He's the brain
The
behind the
workhorse.
operation.
General labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's made life very bearable. Like, I will help if he needs supplies, I will buy them. If he needs help lifting or cleaning, I'll do it. But he's made the transition amazing. From the business perspective, it really is, when you get to the soups and nuts, just like any other business. You have to make sure your costs are in line.
Yeah.
You have to make sure you're producing good product. You have to make sure that your customers are enjoying what they're experiencing. And if you do all those three, I think, it's just like running a restaurant.
Oh, sure.
I mean, the only difference is, and this is the best part, is like we always took a lot of pride in selling Nebraska-made beer. But having our own brewery and being able to put our stamp on it and say, hey, we're proud to present our own product to you after all these years has been amazing. The reception we've gotten when we tell people this is our product has been incredible.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a home brewer also. That I've
Yeah.
been doing it for a little while. So when you have parties and you're like, oh, what beer is this?
This is mine.
This is mine. Yeah, I tell my wife, college me would be so proud of current me. I'm making
awesome.
beer.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So have there been any challenges? I do want to talk about, because before the program I had talked to you about the tap rooms around town that there are a lot that don't serve food.
Mm-hmm.
You do serve food.
Yeah.
And do you think that elevates you, or is that it's just really complicated? Or talk about that a little bit.
Given our history with restaurants, it's not. The kitchen has so far been the easiest part of this process for me. Like, we're used to serving food. We're used to
literally your entire life.
Yeah.
You've been doing this.
Well, most
your
of it, one way or the other. Yeah,
your family.
We've been doing this for a while, so the kitchen is not intimidating to us. The beer is, since we have our history with local too, we're very familiar with the beer.
The beer's new though, new to you
guys. The brewing itself is very new to us.
Yeah,
so
we just talked about that while you slipped out.
Of course, I got to use the restroom.
Right.
I just had one of those pork rinds, and they're still great. So
they hold well.
Yeah.
So sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
So we talked about the transition a little bit.
Yep.
But do you think this elevates you above other tap rooms and
short answer no.
Okay.
Short answer no, because at the end of the day, I mean, when I walk into a tap room, my expectations are I want to see what you're doing with your beer, and I want to have a good time doing it. So as long as you're making amazing beer, I think that's what matters as a tap room.
I'm all about the flavor mash. If you can mash so many different things, like
bingo.
You put mango in here.
This is amazing.
You put fried chicken in here. Like, I don't get how that goes, but I'm down for a try.
Coconut. I mean,
I think the term elevate in and of itself says like you're doing something better or you're doing something worse. So it creates a gradient. I mean, the guys that are making good beer in the state.
I guess I should have said advantages instead of elevate.
Well, it goes back to one of my experiences in Texas. Like, I went to B52 Brewing in Conroe, Texas. And
Did it have a tin roof? Sorry,
I think it did. I think it did, yeah.
It's Texas, come on now.
And we also went to Eighth Wonder in Texas. And the cool thing about these breweries is you go there at 8, 9, 10, 11 at night, they'll have families hanging out by a fire. Most of them might or might not. I mean, some of them might or might not be drinking. They've got shipping containers carved out for their bars. It's a gathering place. It's not just a bar. It's not a place people go to get wasted. It's a gathering place. Like, hey, let's go play a board game at B52.
Yeah.
And they hang out. So that the atmosphere of inclusion versus exclusion. A lot of like places these days when they're serving craft beer do not want children in. If you look at our brewery in Lincoln, we have 2 huge patios and 2 garage doors, so people can like be a part of the brewing. Like if we're brewing in the nice weather, we're going to open those doors so you can come in.
I love that.
And talk to us. You can have your kids on the patio. You're
asking questions.
Yeah, asking questions and learning what we're doing and becoming interested. Same here. One of the reasons I was like, let's do a full menu. We could have gotten away with a smaller menu, but we want families to come here. And for kids to feel welcome, so that parents don't feel like, well, we got to find a sitter tonight to go to 5168. It's like, no, bring the kids.
Yeah.
Serve them some drumsticks.
Yeah.
They can have some tots and hang out.
We can throw on
grilled cheese.
Kids Network on the TV.
Yeah.
My son's a big fan of tots, so yeah. I mean,
yeah. And we are not promoting children drinking, but we want the parents to feel comfortable coming here with their kids and have a good time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my next question: is who do you want this 5168, the tap room or the brewery? Who do you want to appeal to, or who do you think you appeal to most?
I mean, everyone.
That's a good answer. I mean, everybody.
Craft beer drinkers. I mean, just like one of our main flagship beers, 88 Lager. That is a beer that's meant for the masses.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to use that as a gateway beer for other beers that we make.
That's a good, very smooth, easy drinkability.
Not a gateway drug, but a gateway beer in order to get to the other beers.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, I'll throw a challenge out there. Like, find any sort of beer snob. Find a brewer and ask him, what was your first beer? No one's going to tell you, like, oh, I had, like, this beer from this brewery in, like, Maine, and it was 20% alcohol. Chances are, most people's first beer is a Bud Light.
Oh, yeah.
Miller Lite, Bud Light.
That's exactly what it was for me.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the college years, that's what you were drinking. You were drinking Bud Light, Miller Lite. You were drinking...
Busch Light. Natty Ice.
Busch Light, yeah.
But Heineken would pop in there every once in a while, and you're like, oh, well, this is different.
You're fancy if you're drinking
Exactly. Exactly.
You had to drink with your pinky out.
But what did it for me was getting into the IPA world. Lagunitas, I mean, was a big one for me.
Huge
Lagunitas. It was my brother bringing just stuff around that I'd never heard
Sierra
before.
Nevada, I'm still a huge
Sierra
fan.
Nevada was great.
Killer at the time.
So why not make a beer that could be someone's first beer that's easy drinking, get them into craft beer sooner.
And it'd be local. And
and it's a local product.
Keep the money here, yo.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of the beers, I think we're on our
Number
last
5.
one, right? This is
Well, I
number
didn't
5.
say it's our last one. I think I'm going to get a full one here in a minute and
Of
just
our-
order it from
yeah.
the bartender.
Of our
I'm
flight.
thirsty.
What is this last one?
This is called Sundance Pale Ale.
Oh, this looks
that's a
beautiful.
good one.
You saving the best for last? Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah. Hate to assign value.
Was there an order?
I can just tell by the color of it. It looks beautiful. It looks like
Looks
a
like
sunset.
Sundance.
It looks like the sunset.
Yeah. So this is
that's a good one to end on. I like that. It's
a
very, very smooth.
well balanced.
Yeah, not highly carbonated.
Yep. It's been
citrusy.
sitting here for about 20 minutes.
Juicy.
That's true. Well, actually, about an hour.
An hour. We're working through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our.
that's tasty.
This is one of the beers that I really love.
This is
Brian.
nice. This is really nice.
Yeah, I called him the second I had tasted this. I'm like, dude, this is
going-
one of the
this-
ones.
Nice.
This is
Is
a
this
new
your
flagship.
So one of the when we didn't ask it earlier, is this? Do you have a favorite beer that you brew?
To brew or to drink?
Drink. Let's start with drink because that's what we're doing right
The
now.
Sundance has to be one of my favorites, along with the 88 Lager.
Okay, because they're
But-
easy drinkability. Is that why?
Well, it's just different scenarios. If I want to drink a beer all day, the 88 Lager is great. But for a citrus-forward, well-balanced ale, the Sundance is amazing.
Yeah, and this is very citrus forward.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah, this is a beer that we are really going to push as one of our flagship beers. But
No, I could drink this all day. This
Yeah.
is.
This is tasty.
I mean, I like the 88, but I'm more of a darker beer drinker or full flavor. And while your 88 has a lot of flavor, this to me is I would drink this all day.
yeah, so this is definitely one of the beers I think could really make an impact on what we do moving forward as a brewery. It would be a great beer to also infuse.
Sure.
To take some
do some fruit in
citrus
there.
skins.
Extra, yeah.
Infuse this beer. Like that's one of the things that we'd like to start doing moving forward is taking some of the flagships, taking some great basic flavors, take some great base beers and then start infusing them.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Starting to get into another local brewery's territory there.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
I just noticed something Tom brought up.
Yeah.
PBR. Yeah, I PBR was
PBR.
one of my favorite. I used to live up in Montana, and you could get a 24 pack of PBR for $18. It was cheaper than water up there.
Wow.
So I'm like, they've got to be giving this guy a ski pass to be up here. I just don't know how he's trucking it up here. But yeah, PBR. Don't forget about them.
I mean, price is something that we're
PBR is
always,
awesome.
as craft brewers, we will always struggle to compete against the big boys. But
Yeah.
I think quality-wise, I think most of the brewers here can make a beer that's as good, if not better, than most of the big guys right now. So,
Now you guys
the,
are
the big guys. You get quantity over quality, whereas here I'm getting quality.
Quality over
Yeah.
quantity, for sure.
Exactly.
Now you guys
And
are
I'm okay with that.
solely on tap.
Quantity and
yes, that's correct.
Is there any future plans for canning, bottling? I do notice that I see crowlers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can take some home.
Yeah, no, I'd love to have enough demand that we could start canning and bottling, but we're
Selling to
on
stores
month
and-
3, so we're trying to expand responsibly.
Slow down.
that's something you guys have
did-
to think about. Like
Yeah.
every beer you had, like they've been open for like 3.5 months.
Yeah, and
Like,
for some reason I was thinking this
crazy.
last year. I don't know why.
No,
yeah,
this development is not usual. Like,
that's
it's
probably why.
awesome.
That's probably why I think that it's been around a lot longer.
Yeah.
Is because you not only opened the brewery in Lincoln and then opened the tap room. If you think about that progress, I mean, and you're not even 6 months old.
But you're already saying that you can find some of this at Old Chicago. So if you're one of the Old Chicago member card
And Eagle
holders,
Run, yep.
and Eagle Run.
Okay, that's
It's not at all the Old
Nope.
Chicago's. Gotcha.
Not yet.
Yeah, well, it's just fine. The Eagle Run.
why is it not
actually
there?
Very
Why,
good.
yeah, why don't they don't? So they don't
I
have the
think
same tap.
each manager is allowed to have X% of their taps as their own choices. Like a lot of it's determined by
Gotcha.
corporate, but yeah,
Gotcha.
the one manager, they're right next to Hero. So one of our employees went over there and was like, "Oh, you should carry our beer," and she's like, "Sure."
I didn't know you had a beer.
Yeah, I didn't know you had a beer.
Oh yeah, you guys are just right down the street, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Not even down the street, like across the parking lot.
Across the parking lot. Yeah.
A block away.
Yep.
Well, it is. I mean, there is the little access road.
Yeah.
So
Darn
yeah,
it,
I do like
Walmart.
that old Chicago. So I
Home
have some
store,
friends that
Walmart
are.
home store.
It's actually nice.
It's
It is
nice.
not going to knock it.
It's
for
nice.
Walmart, yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about some other. Do you have any other future plans? I mean, no, you're only 3 months old, so
yeah,
I don't want to give too much away.
yeah.
Yeah, we would.
Generalities are fine.
Leave them hanging.
I would love to have a canning line. I mean, I think.
Which you already have the crowler.
Yeah, but
So-
a production canning line. So I mean, if we're speaking to beer lovers, which I think we are, in my opinion, cans are where it's at. You know,
So you're a can above
Like
bottle.
a Nebraska Brewing Company.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Can above bottle.
canning.
Parkway.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two things that you get rid of with a can. One is any chance of oxygenation of your beer, because your crown caps can leak. And two is light poisoning.
Absolutely.
You know, it is a sealed. I mean, basically, it's a little keg in your hand. You know, I know cans have a bad rep being.
Well,
you know,
anybody that's really drinking craft beer should be drinking it from a glass anyway. They shouldn't be drinking it from a can.
Yeah.
But as a means
bottle.
to transport it
Shipping.
between bottle
Shipping
and cans,
purposes.
open it, pour it into a glass. But yeah, I love cans, so I'd love to
Put
have
it in a
can
shipping container.
Ship it in a shipping container.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We do
I
one
would.
shipping container at a time.
I would love to eventually distill, because I think that's an area where the state can really
That's really cool,
make
yeah.
great product.
And you have, there's not a lot of competition for that. There's a few around town here that are doing that, but not many at all.
I mean, the folks that are doing it are doing well. I mean, they're doing a good job, but I mean, I think there could be a few more players in that market.
Do you have a favorite spirit of yours?
Oh, all of them. No, seriously, like any spirit made well. I mean, there's so DSP 162, which is Craft Distillers, who's the former owner of Hangar One, makes a vodka that tastes.
I love Hangar One vodka.
So the former owner of that just opened his own distillery after his non-compete was over. It's called DSP. It's the best vodka I've ever tasted.
Does it stand for
They had
something?
like
really? I don't know.
olive. Didn't they have like an olive Hangar One?
I think they had a lime, an orange. I'm sure maybe
The
probably
green one, whatever the green one was.
That's the lime one.
Okay, that was the lime. Yeah, I was like, you don't need a chaser. It was just like, boom, done.
No
It was
need.
great.
Yeah, DSP is actually designated spirit production license.
Okay.
So I think I'm not sure that's what it refers to, but that's what it stands for.
Okay.
Gin, like all these spirits have been experiencing a resurgence. Craft gin is amazing. So Uncle
Well, that's
Tom's,
the next evolution, really,
Yeah.
after craft beer is
Gin's
craft
awesome.
spirits.
Yeah, Uncle Val's Botanicals, Monkey 47, all these. Like we grew up, or I grew up drinking stuff like Tanqueray. It just tastes like you're walking through a pine forest.
But I thought I saw a bottle over there, but that was just the Lafroy.
I think it's down here.
Yeah.
I thought I saw it around here somewhere.
I mean, the whiskeys that are being produced regionally. I mean, literally, if you do it well, it's hard to find a spirit that I would not drink. You know, and it's.
Do you have a favorite mixed drink, or are you more of a purist where you drink it neat or with a little bit of ice?
So within mixology, there's two categories of drinks. You have aromatics and you have sours. Sour refers to any sort of cocktail with citrus, grapefruit, lemon, lime, anything like that. Aromatics are your old fashions, Manhattans, Vieux Carrés. I stray towards aromatics.
See, that's for me my baseline. If I go into a bar and I don't know what level of bartending they have, I order an old fashioned, and from that
You can
I
tell
can
real
tell
fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is the level? Are they putting crap fruit in here and mixing all? Yeah.
That's me with Manhattan. Same
Yeah.
thing. Like
Yeah.
we had a different show about this where we
Yeah.
brought our favorite drinks. You brought the
Old fashioned.
I brought Manhattan. Same thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can tell by their Manhattan.
And it's a
whether
very
or not
similar
they
drink.
Have a good beer.
It is.
Or a good drink.
Yeah, mine has things, and actually, a cool story. I mean, this is a little off topic, but so we've had Alziri from Spirit World as a
Yeah.
bartender, and we've had him
He's
on the
awesome.
program. So I went and actually saw
Good
him
guy.
at Spirit
good.
World, and he said, "What are you going to have?" And I said, "Well, my baseline is always a old fashioned, so make me an old fashioned." And he hands me a glass, which was actually a really very interesting glass by itself, but it was nothing in it. It was like just pure liquid, and I went. And he saw my face, and he's like, "You're used to things and stuff in your old fashioned." I said,
No.
I said, "Yeah, I'm used to like the maraschino cherry and the orange peel." And
That's your circa 1990 old fashioned.
He said, "This is straight booze. Tell me what you think." And I tell you what, that old fashioned
Knock y'all socks off.
And I don't know if it was because it took me off guard, but it was the most fantastic old fashioned I've ever had.
So
it was straight liquid.
Yeah, the history of the old fashioned is, I mean, previously, pre-prohibition, like a cocktail, the definition of cocktail is sugar, water, spirits, and bitters. Whatever you want to use for that. Like your sugar doesn't need to be simple syrup. It could be vermouth, sweet vermouth.
Sure can.
So during Prohibition, spirits were so crappy that they started putting fruit juice in. They started putting this and that, and like that's when a lot of like cocktailing really exploded because people had to make like moonshine taste good.
Yeah.
Right? So that was the heyday of cocktail. Like, oh, we're gonna like take this like crappy gin, I'm gonna mix this and this with it. So you would get people that would just say, make me an old fashioned cocktail. Like just take these things like sugar, you know, whiskey. I mean, an old fashioned can be made with any grain, any spirit. So gin, vodka, So take a spirit, mix sugar in with it, throw some bitters, and that's it. So the term old-fashioned came from make me an old-fashioned cocktail.
Well, that's interesting because actually a few weeks ago we did one of our few of our favorite things episodes, and we did rum edition. And because it's rum and I'm prior Navy, we did grog, which is the old British Navy drink. And I love the story behind it because they water would go bad on long voyages. This is way back when. And so they did rum rations.
Sure.
Well, sailors were storing the rum and drinking it all at once. So they ended up getting, super, super drunk.
Messed up.
Right. So they added water to it, but the problem was the water goes bad on long voyages. So you couldn't store it, but then it was just like, well, it's water, and then it goes bad quickly. So then they started adding brown sugar into it, and then they added honey into it to sweeten it up a little bit. And
I've only had 3 glasses of water.
And then they
Fred, get off of here.
Sweat.
But then they also added a citrus, and that was actually what got rid of scurvy. So you combine that all together, and that was what was grog.
Yeah.
And we had it on the program, and we made it like the old-fashioned way.
Oh, really cool.
And it was actually pretty good. Like, I would actually order that at a restaurant.
Yeah.
So you were bringing up Prohibition times, which brings up a story that I had actually over the weekend. I was down working at my facility down there, and somebody was saying that they needed a CD player. Like, do you guys have a CD player around still?
Or an 8-track?
Right next to the Laserdisc player.
So that's how the story went. We were using the radios, and so we were like, oh, CD player. Well, maybe we might be able to find one of those upstairs. And then we went into the tape era, and they were like, well, I mean, if they brought it reel to reel, we might be able to play it better, And then they were just trying to think of the name of. They were like, it's not a record player, but I said it's a Victrola.
Oh, the Victrola.
And so then the conversation went, how did Motorola get its name? Well, it was a Motor Victrola. Oh. Motorola tried to put a record player in a car, and it was a Motor Victrola, which doesn't make any sense because you hit one single bump, and then the record player's not messing. But that's how they got their start, and their name was the Motor Victrola. Motorola.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, any of us that have had the CD players from the 90s, you knew about if you hit a bump, that thing,
Well, needless to say, we were looking for Victrola, and I was all like, actually, my folks have Victrola. The volume control on the front of it, you would open up a set of doors, and that was the volume control.
Yep.
You shut the doors for it to be quieter, and you open them to be louder. And then on the front side, you could put all your Victrola records in the front, but then it was on wheels, and you could spin it around, and it had a small set of doors on the back where you'd store your hooch.
Oh, man. That's cool.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
We'll have to have you over sometime.
I want to see that.
Well, and what's interesting is, like, we grew up with that, like, downstairs in the basement.
I called it hooch.
And then the whole thing was, like, covered. It was, like, black paint over the whole thing, which it still looks super cool. But my parents went to get it refinished, and they took off the black paint.
And there was
zebra. It's a zebra wood.
Zebra wood. Like why would you paint this black?
It's amazing. So, are there other questions in there?
Nope, I was just checking.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Tom did say another question here. It says, cans can leave a metal taste in your mouth. Yes and no. That's why you empty the can out into a glass.
Yeah, and like there's been a lot of conversation about the lining and whether or not it holds up well. I mean,
what was this last one we had here?
This was the
Pale Ale.
Sundance.
Sundance Pale Ale.
What's your gentleman over here?
Rodrigo.
Could I get another one of the Sundance?
Yeah, no, I think
a glass of that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, we're always sort of looking for the lesser of two evils, right? And when you look at things that can go wrong, no pun intended. Sure, yeah, people have said cans can sometimes create an off flavor, but sometimes I know that bottles are letting light pollution in.
Oh,
absolutely.
They sure
because
are.
They're clear. And
no, I meant like a full glass. But I'll drink that. I mean, don't waste it.
And if you ever have a glass of Heineken from a tap versus a glass of Heineken from a can, from a bottle, it's night and day.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like the
on tap, I mean, every version of it.
The risk of what can go wrong, I think, in a can, in my experience, is a lot less than the risk of what can go wrong and what goes wrong in bottles.
Sure, for sure.
So for me, I agree. Like every form of transportation, like even a keg, if you don't wash it correctly, a keg can destroy beer.
Or the tap lines themselves.
Yeah, the tap lines. Like there's a lot of variables. I think cans are like the lesser of two evils when it comes to like single serving transportation of beer.
For sure. Hey, Grant.
Hey, I'm back.
Grant has more questions,
Hello.
guys.
I just want to be around. My favorite
Cheers,
job.
brother.
I think my favorite job in my whole life would be to be a punter on a football team. It's like I get in there and bad stuff's happening, and I'm the guy that can boot it 80 yards. I feel like if you needed me on an airplane, like the plane's going down, I'm gonna be like, hey, guys, I got this under control. I've never done this before. So right now I feel like I could be the DJ. I'm gonna not pretend, but I suppose here's my last question for you. So you open in March.
We opened the Taproom in March. The brewery opened January 17th.
And then so this is the brewery.
Yep.
No, this is the
Taproom.
This is the tap room, and the brewery is close.
In
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
Okay, gotcha. So this one opened in
Grant didn't do his
March.
homework.
No.
I was watching but trying to drive safely.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
So this opened in March.
That's correct.
So what would be a good, and I don't need you to be overly specific. This isn't an interview for lending money or anything like that. But what would be a great 2018 for you guys? And you guys are established business people. I mean, I know
Yeah.
I talked with some other member of the family about other businesses you guys have had around town. You know what you're doing. What's going to be a great 2018 for you for the brewery and the tap room, and especially this part here in Omaha, because I'm an Omaha guy.
I mean, we'd love to see distribution. So one of the reasons that we talked to Brian and he signed up was, he sort of said, what's your plan in the future? And I said, step one is to make great beer. Make beer that everyone really enjoys drinking. Step two is to get those beers in our restaurants. After that happens, if those two things hold up and you can produce, I'd love to see other restaurants carrying the product. We're going to take it slow. So I think 2018, if we start seeing 10 to 20 restaurants that'd be willing to pick it up,
Nice.
that'd be awesome.
Are you guys in talks with
That's
it?
a realistic-
You don't have to name names, but are you in any talks, or is this
No.
just like on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, our distributors having those talks with
That's
people.
what I wondered.
Yeah.
So that's something that. How much do you feel is the owner, GM, whatever your official roles are, president, title, founder, whatever it is? How much is that your responsibility versus your founder's responsibility, or versus your distributor's responsibility?
I mean, you always have to push your own product, man, because
Yeah,
no
you sure
one's
do.
going to be as good of a spokesperson for what you do as you.
Yep.
Yeah, so I will go to restaurants, I'll go to bars and just talk to folks and say, hey, listen, this is what we're doing, and I think it'd fit great with what you're doing for these reasons. The distributors do help. I mean, they try to make it a point to get out there and to talk to your accounts or their accounts, because at the end of the day, they don't want to keep inventory. They want to move it,
Right.
and they get paid on sales. So
Yep.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, those are my last two questions. I'll tap him back on the shoulder. What is it? Happy life, happy wife, happy life.
happy
life.
I'm on my way out. See you guys. Great to meet you.
Nice to
I'm
meet
going
you.
to say
Grant.
thanks to Karen for letting you stay here for a little bit. Yeah.
But on another point related to his most recent question, it's like if you like craft beer and you go
Which,
to
if you're listening to this program,
Yeah.
you probably
Should.
are. Yeah.
a great way to help your favorite brewery grow is when you go to restaurants or when you go to a bar, just say, hey, I notice you have this on tap.
What do you have that's local?
Would you mind putting Brickway on? Or there's this
Oh,
great
yeah.
beer that I love that, like, hey, Farnham House makes this great, sour beer. Would you mind putting that on? A lot of bars that are transitioning from that model, like 10 years ago to now, are very nervous about selling a $5, $6,
They are.
$7 beer. But if they hear their customers asking for it, that's all, as a business owner, that's all the assurance I need versus a sales rep telling me you should carry this beer because it's good.
It's what I have in my inventory, and I'm trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Versus a customer saying, hey, I would buy this from you because I buy it elsewhere.
Very fair point.
So if you're a consumer that loves great beer, tell your business owners you want it, and they will carry it.
That's I'd never even thought about doing that because I always assumed they had to follow what their reps were saying.
No, not at all. I mean,
that's fair.
Unless you're a franchise, for the most part, you have a decision. You have a choice as to what you carry.
Nice. Is there anything else that we need to know about 5168 before we officially end this?
No, nothing that comes to mind. Yeah, I
Okay.
appreciate your time. Thanks
Well,
for
thank you so much for coming on the program. We've been talking with Charlie Yin from